Just kidding. Okay, today on the Daily Review, we discuss a new movie that's been released on Netflix called Rust Creek, directed by Jen, somebody I forgot her name. I'll tell you in a minute. With your host, Joe LaRocca. Ugh. I've not been crying, I've just been coughing a lot. I do not have COVID. I have some sort of cough. I woke up in the middle of the night and I felt like, like there was something in my throat. I'm okay though. I mean, I literally just got tested, so I'm okay. But I feel my breathing is strange. And then I drop dead and you never hear from me again. Wouldn't that be funny? Haha. Death. Okay, Rust Creek. Okay, this movie came out in 2019. I mean, I think it was in festivals in 2018, actually, when I looked it up. So, it's a truly independent film. Let me just clarify something. Independent films has now become a genre where that means like quirky, offbeat. But the truth is that a truly independent movie is a movie that is made completely independently of the system, meaning its influence and its money, which are essentially the same things. But it's like somebody who raises a bunch of money, makes their movie, gets a bunch of people to invest, that kind of thing, and then sends it to festivals, and it gets into little festivals, and then bigger festivals, and then even bigger festivals, and then, gets to the top tier, like the Ivy Leagues of festivals, like South by Southwest, or Cannes, or Sundance, or Slam Dance, or Seattle International, or Berlin, or Venice, or, there's a million, or not a million, but there's like 25, 30 really important ones, and then someone notices, and even now, more so now than ever, one of your streaming networks will go, give me that motherfucker, and they do it. And this is that example, and it's good. It's actually one of the big positive things about streaming services is that you can scoop up these things, put them, and then there's some actually like a little bit more democracy to it, like it gets thrown up there. If people give a shit about it, it ends up on the top 10, which I heard they're expanding to the top 50, on Netflix, but on other channels, it gets featured or it's saying popular on or whatever. And assuming that is based on people viewing it, then, hey, it's pretty even. And then more people click on it. It's like YouTube in a sense. So I think that's great. I'm down with that. This movie is only okay. It's a better than average kind of horror, hillbilly thriller, Hills Have Eyes, lost teenage girl in the woods type movie. I just want to shut this speaker off so that it give me a little bit of feedback. Okay, so it's about a girl. Oh boy, is she a smart girl from Kentucky or wherever she's from. She goes to Center College, which I'm not sure if that exists, but it's right in the middle of America. You know who also is from Kentucky? Little Odie. Odie came from Kentucky. Anyway, I don't think she had a good time there. She left her eye in Kentucky. If you're going to Kentucky. I was trying to... Wow, that derailed. I was thinking, if you're going to San Francisco, be sure to wear a flower in your hair. Anyway, this movie's pretty stupid. Bye. No, I'm just kidding. All right, so it's fine. It's actually not stupid. So on her way from her Kentucky school, she's going to an interview in D.C. Yay, it's like Hillbilly Elegy. We got to get to an interview in D.C. And the opening sucks. It's like a music video, which shows that there's no confidence in the material, and like the music is louder and it's like a montage, and it's like, let's suck them in with a music video. I always tell my students that there are three things that are like kind of base I don't know if you call them vices. I know there's some philosopher that talked about these, but they're like the lowest form of happiness. And the philosopher's not like disagreeing that they're fun, but that they are base, you know, and that is sex, violence, and music. Now, not all sex, not all violence, not all music, but there are base forms of sex like porn, you know, where there's no emotion behind it, and then there's high forms of it like what I assume happens between people who are in love, which is, you know, science fiction to me. But and the same thing with violence. There's like, I mean, violence is pretty bad, but there's like frivolous, silly violence, and then there's like really like Shakespearean level, Oedipus level violence. I guess that goes for sex too, but you know, like where there's a lot of meaning behind it, and a statement is being made. It's not like John Wick, like I like John Wick, by the way. And then lastly, it's music. And now in movies, I'm talking in the context of movies, but music can be, you can very easily elevate and control it's almost like a laugh track. You can control the emotions of your audience by just like slapping a song on there, especially a popular song that people know. So anyway, at first I was like, this movie is made by just knuckleheads who are just trying their best to save a movie. And that is not true. It actually has an idea. I'm going to look up the director's name because I feel really, I mean, I have it on what's annoying is that I wrote it down and I just can't see it from, Gemma Gowan, sorry. So Gemma Gowan, and then it was produced by, well, I don't care, who cares about that, Stu Pollard. He also wrote the story, and he wrote the screenplay with Julia Lipson. I think it's important that we know that there's a lot of like, female force behind this picture, because the main character, Hermione Caulfield, or it's probably Corfield. Hermione Caulfield. That's what I'm going with. Good actress, very good actress. Actually, all the performances in this are pretty darn good. So she is going, you know, road trip, gets lost, her GPS fucks her over. Devil in the GPS. That ghoul of Google Maps. These were alternate titles I came up with. But anyway, she gets like lost in a back road, and then two hillbillies, which apparently is fine to say. I wouldn't dare use the RN word. Anyway, so they're like, "Hey, Missy, you ain't gonna get anywhere by sundown. Better come back to our place. We're totally not making meth and totally not gonna kill you, okay?" And you're like, all right. But the great thing is in a lot of other movies in this genre, she'd be like, okay, I guess we should go. They know what they're doing, and they said they have marijuana cigarettes, so we should go hang out with them, and I sure could use a burger. You know how all that regular stuff happens in like a slasher movie. In this, she's like, fuck no. Bye. I'm gonna get in my fucking car. And then they attack her, and she like defends herself like pretty much in one of the more realistic ways I've seen in a film, where like, you know, she goes crazy and she fucking stabs a guy and is punching people and getting, you know, I was like, damn, this is good. This movie's gonna be good. Because it was kind of playing against your expectations, you know, of because this is a very overdone setup, right? So she beats up the hillbilly brothers, but has to run away from her car. And it's great, because the bad guys are like charismatic and terrifying. They're pretty cliche, but you're like, the acting is good. It's not like it could easily be like laughable, and it's not no part of this movie is really laughable. And you know, she's been injured. She runs into the forest. There's this great scene where she checks out her injury, and she's gonna like throw up at it. And I can actually relate to that, because that's not from grossness. That's not like, oh, I'm going to throw up because this is so gross. It's from like adrenaline, because earlier this year, or maybe last year, it's only this little mark now. Yeah, you can't even really see it. Oh, yeah, just barely there. I mean, I can focus the camera so you can see it. But there was a really, really sharp knife sticking up in the, like a meat knife or whatever it's called. The one that's like woot, woot, classic stabby knife. Was sitting upwards in the drying rack, and I was taking a boiling pot of 8 eggs. I was making deviled eggs, and I went across to the sink, and I got stabbed clean right, and it hit the bone. I felt it hit the bone, because it's actually, I'm a skinny bro, but the bone's right there. I mean, I honestly think, because of the weight of what I had in my hand, I honestly think it would have gone much further or all the way through my arm, because I like dropped the weight on it. It was crazy. So then I put the boiling eggs down in the sink, and I was like holding my arm, and it didn't hurt at all, and it wasn't even really bleeding. It was just like that little 1/4 inch, 3/4 of an inch mark, and I was like and then I was like, I'm gonna faint, because all this like intensity rushed up to my face. So I sat down, because I was like, don't fucking fall and crack your head open. So I sat down, and then the second I sat down, I'm like, oh, I'm gonna fucking puke. So I just slowly crawled, because I didn't want to, not that I had to crawl, but I didn't want to stand up and fall and crack my head on something. Nobody else was home. And I crawled to the bathroom and just kind of like leaned against the wall and was just like, I'm gonna throw up. But it wasn't because I was grossed out, because it wasn't bleeding very badly. And and the pain wasn't even very bad. Like the next day, the pain was bad, because it was really bruised. Like the bone had bruised. My whole arm was like black for a few weeks. And then when I went to show my PCP, my primary care physician, I was explaining it to her, and I went to show her. And this is like months later. She went, "Ooh, don't show me." I went, "Oh, that's a great physician." Anyway. She keeps the meds coming. No, she's cool. I'm not going to name her. Anyway, so I was like, oh, this scene's great, because she looks at her wound and she's like, I'm going to throw up, because of like, your brain goes, that's bad, and all the alarms go off. And it's not necessarily because she's weak or something. It's really cool. Although she should be a little bit better at taking care of it. I guess maybe she's in shock. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. A lot could be given up. The performance is really good by this Hermione Field. You know what's interesting? I bet she's named after Hermione Granger, which is weird. Which means she's always been a star. Anyway, I thought that stuff was good. This is only in like the first 30 minutes or so, and it starts getting boring. You start going, because it misses. This is, if anybody from class is watching, it misses its plot points. The structure of it's not particularly great. It's pretty poorly paced. So like, you're just like, well, what is this about? We've missed the points. And essentially what the movie is about, which kind of like needs to be gotten to a little bit sooner, I would say, is like, she gets picked up by like a meth maker guy, and they like form a relationship, and that's what the movie's about. Not like it's a rom-com. No, I mean, they benefit one another, and it's pretty good. But yeah, there's tons of stupid cliches, like everybody is just like evil, like Middle America is just like a meth-filled moron festival, and I don't know. I don't think that's true. I've never been there, but well, maybe it's true. Who knows? If you're from Kentucky, can you tell me if it's a meth-filled moron festival? Anyway, there's some good stuff in here, some good performances. Overall, I didn't like it. I mean, I wouldn't recommend it. You don't have to see it. It just kind of like fizzles out. That lead performance is really good, and then the guy who plays Lowell, whose name is Jay Paulson, he's quite good. And one of the lead bad guys, Hollister, who's played by Mika Humptman, I thought he was very convincing. So, I don't know, there's some good stuff. I guess it's a little bit interesting that it's directed by a woman, but not really. I mean, it used to be a big deal, because women seemed to be only allowed to direct in America, only allowed to direct movies that were like, a woman gets a job with a bunch of men, or like rom-coms, like Penny Marshall stuff. But this isn't like some feminist statement. This isn't, it just happened, which is these are good things. I'm saying it's just like it just happens to be a woman is the one who is in trouble. It could easily be a guy. Yeah, so that's good. That's what I like to see. Basically, is it's best because I don't like dudes who make super masculine movies, you know. So it's the same thing when a woman and that's by force. That's like the industry force. And I'm like, well, you're a woman, you can make a movie about cooking, you know, like, but you can make a movie about women sewing during the war or something. And only men can make war movies, you know, because that's what you know, and blah blah blah. But obviously, that whole thing not only being a fallacy, it's been crushed by you know, modern culture and Catherine Bigelow, you know, like we've just decided that's not true anymore. Although there's still, I see movies by female directors and they feel like they're playing into that hand or something, and then they're the great ones like Lynn Ramsey and Andrea Arnold and Kelly Reichardt and Jen, what's her name there? Not this Jen, the other Jen, not Jen McGowan, although she did a good job, better than I could ever do. What's her name? Jennifer Kent, you know, Babadook. That are just making movies like, yes, they have a female perspective. That's there. I hate to tell you guys, there is a difference between men and women. I don't think it's a huge difference, but I do think there's a difference. And having a female perspective on certain topics is awesome. It's just lame when it's like these like stereotypical topics is what they're only allowed to do that. Like, it's great to see like a female Western like Meek's Cutoff, which is basically what that is, or even First Cow in a sense. Those are both Kelly Reichardt movies. She's like one of the only, her, P.T. Anderson, Coen Brothers, those are the only directors I get excited for. You know, like for a new movie. I guess Scorsese, obviously. Herzog. That Pavel, Cold War, and Ida. All right, there's a lot of directors I like. And I also like women. And everything's fair and even. What am I talking about? Okay, cool. So, I hope you guys have got most of your Christmas shopping done, because then you can just chill out. Yeah, you don't have to watch this movie. Very, very competently made, good acting, but a little boring for me. can't imagine anybody still watching, you know? But if you are, this actress, something I wanted to say that I forgot, she's pretty and she's a great actress. She looks different from every angle. And at first, I know she's about to take a car trip, but she's in like scrubby clothes and she's got greasy ears, but she's got French nails. Little detail I noticed that I'm not a huge fan of. Didn't make sense with her character.